If you want to learn how to sell AI services to businesses, then what I'm going to show you in this video could potentially save you $50,000. And that's because it's the exact amount of money that I lost before discovering how to sell AI services the right way. You see, I used to think that selling AI meant being the smartest person in the room. However, I was so wrong. You see, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 deals in 3 different industries, which would have generated me $50,000 of revenue. And I lost these deals. Not because my AI solution wasn't good enough, but because I was selling AI services completely backwards. I was explaining when I should have been demonstrating. I was teaching when I should have been solving problems. Now, if you want to know, here's how you sell AI services. You don't. You sell outcomes. And you sell outcomes that happen to use AI. And the moment that I learned this, my close rate went from 12% to 38%. And the same solution at the same price point that I was selling, I took a totally different approach to, and it just transformed my business. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to sell AI services by never mentioning how they work. And this all starts with a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. Let me tell you a story. 2 merchants sat at the city gates selling maps. The first merchant knew every road, every shortcut and every stone. He'd walk to the mall, and when travelers came, he'd spread out his map really wide and explained, see this path here? It saves 3 hours, but only in the dry season. And this bridge? Well, it's unstable if your cart weighs more than 500 pounds. Oh, and this forest route? Well, it's beautiful, but there's bandits on Tuesdays. And travelers would listen, they'd nod, they'd thank him, and then they'd walk through to the second merchant. The second merchant knew one thing. This map gets you there safely. By sunset, the first merchant still had all his maps, while the second merchant had sold out. The first merchant was furious and he demanded, I know more, my maps are better, why did they buy from you? And the second merchant just sat there and smiled, because you're selling knowledge and I'm selling a rival. When I first started selling AI services, I was the first merchant, and it cost me $50,000. You see, I've run my agency Expand Digital for over 10 years, and we've done over $8 million in sales. But when AI exploded 3 years ago, I made a classic mistake. I became an AI expert, a real expert. I mean, I took courses, I read research papers, I understand neural networks. I was brilliant. But I was losing deals left and right, because the better I got at AI, the worse I got at selling it. And every new thing that I learned actually made me stupider in what matters most: selling and making money. And this isn't just my opinion, there's an actual name for it. Economists call it the curse of knowledge. And it's killing your agency before it even starts. So guys, today, let me show you exactly how my expertise cost me $50,000 in lost deals, and why knowing less will make you more money, as well as the counterintuitive strategy that tripled my close rate and got AI as one of my top services. Now, I just want to give a quick warning. This is going to piss off every AI guru. It's going to annoy everyone trying to sell a certification, and most guys on YouTube are not going to like this. You see, back in 1990, Stanford psychologist Elizabeth Newton ran an experiment that changed how I think about sales forever. She had people tap out songs on a table, just the rhythm. And tappers predicted that 50% of listeners would guess the song. The actual result was 2.5%. Why? Because when you know the song, you can't imagine not hearing it in the taps. That's the curse of knowledge. Once you know something, your brain literally cannot remember what it's like not to know it. Now, Chip and Dan Heath wrote about this in their book Made to Stick. They found that experts consistently fail at communication because they've forgotten what it's like to be a beginner. Now, if you take these strategies and apply them to AI agencies, you can't help yourself. You use terms like large language model and tokenization and embedding vectors, and you think you're building trust, where you're actually building confusion. When you say this, when I first started selling AI services, the client would ask me, can AI help us respond to leads faster? Absolutely. We can implement a RAG-enhanced LLM with a webhook integrating to your CRM. We can use semantic search across your knowledge base and generate a contextually relevant response with sub-second latency. The client would sit there like, what the fuck just happened? And I'd lose it. I'd lose the deal. I'd think about it. Now, after I decided to get dumb about AI, here's a very similar situation and how I respond these days. The client asks, can AI help us respond to leads faster? And the new me says yes. Every lead will get a perfect response in 37 seconds. Let me show you exactly how this looks. After a quick demo, the client's like, great, when can we start? Boom, deal closed. It's the same solution, it's just a different language pattern, and it's a completely different result, and it's a completely different bank account. Now, if we want to build upon this, Harvard Business School professor Theodore Levitt famously said, people don't want a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole. Researchers at University of Chicago's Booth School of Business studied sales conversations across industries, and they found something that's probably going to be shocking to you as well. The more features that a salesperson explained, the less likely the customers were to buy. Not more, less. That is, they called it feature fatigue, the point where additional information actually reduces purchase intent. Dan Ali is from Duke University, and he discovered in his research that when people don't understand something, they use mental shortcuts to evaluate it. The main shortcut is social proof and confidence. So when you explain AI in detail, you force them to evaluate the technology. When you speak simply and show them the demo, they evaluate the results. And guess what's easier to trust? A complex explanation or seeing it working live? You see, I tested this for myself. I ran 2 different pitches for 3 months. The first is what I call the expert pitch. And this is where I give detailed AI explanation, technical capabilities, how it works, everything. I really help them understand the technology. Now, after 3 months, that had a 12% close rate. The control that I was testing that against was what I call the demo first pitch. And this is where I use simple outcomes, I show them immediate demonstration, and I really just focus on the results that the system can get for them. The result for this was a 38% close rate. That's triple the closes by showing more and explaining less. But here's the $50,000 lesson that I alluded to at the beginning. So I had 3 deals. These 3 deals became 3 disasters. I was trying to prove I was smart instead of proving that it worked. And this is because I thought that these companies had very smart people in them. So the first deal was with a law firm. It was a $15,000 deal. I had 3 partners at the firm in the conference room, and they asked about AI for contract review. And I spent 45 minutes explaining natural language processing, pattern recognition, and machine learning models. I showed them the technology stack, and I explained how I fine-tuned the process. And eventually one of the partners just said, stop. But I'd already lost them. I'd gone too far down the rabbit hole of learning AI. And they just hired someone else who showed them that the tool could catch an actual mistake. The second deal that I lost was for a manufacturing company. And this was a $20,000 deal. And the CEO wanted to automate quality control reporting. I explained computer vision, neural networks, confidence scores, and edge computing. And he said, hey, I just need to think about it. The translation was, I have no idea what you just said. You just confused me. And that's what often means people say they need to think about it. Either they're not interested or you just confuse the heck out of them. And ultimately, these guys ended up hiring a competitor who had a pre-built tool that they'd already spent a bit of time building, and they just showed them a demo. Now, the third deal that I lost was a medical practice, $15,000 deal, because they wanted to buy. They needed patient communication automation. I explained HIPAA-compliant infrastructure, encryption protocols, and AI safety measures, thinking that that's what they cared about. I thought they cared about being compliant. And I thought showing my expertise around this really nuanced thing that no one else could do would get me the deal. The office manager told me later when I was doing follow-up, they said, we wanted someone because they could just show us the system worked. And I made it too complicated. $50,000 of recurring revenue gone because I couldn't shut up about what I knew and just showed them what I could do. So guys, After 10 years of running an agency and $8 million in sales, I thought I knew how to sell. But AI taught me that I was doing it backwards. So there's a concept in game theory called strategic ignorance, which means to deliberately not know something because knowledge would make you worse off. I've adapted this into what I call demo first dumb strategy. So here's the rules, guys. Rule number 1, never explain how AI works without showing it first. If they ask, how does it work? You say, let me show you a demo. It takes 30 seconds. Rule number 2 of my demo first dumb strategy means demo beats dissertation every time. They say, this seems complicated. You say, hey, watch this, and start screen sharing immediately and showing them a demo. Rule number 3 is redirect technical questions to live demonstrations. That is, they say, what model do you use? You say, the one that does this, and start showing them that. Now, if people ask a second time, what model do I use? I ask why they're asking. Because quite often, there's a reason that they're asking. It could be because they're just interested. They're not necessarily questioning whether you are using the right model, the wrong model, whatever. Sometimes people are just like, I'm just curious, I'm just trying to learn some AI stuff. Now, rule number 4 is to use the demo to answer questions. Don't say we use natural language processing. Say, watch how it understands exactly what your customer means. And then rule number 5 is confusion is a sales killer. Demos are clarity. The moment you see that glazed look in their eyes, stop talking and share your screen. Show beats tell every single time. Now, Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman talks about this in his Thinking Fast and Slow. You see, he identified 2 systems of thinking. The first system is fast, intuitive, and emotional. The second system we have in our brain is slow, deliberate, and logical. When you demo, you keep them in system number 1. They see it working, and they don't have any doubt of what's possible. The smarter you sound, the dumber that they feel. And the last thing you want to do is make your prospect feel dumb. You don't want them to feel like you're in control. You want them to feel like you are confident you can lead, but you don't want them to feel like they are at your mercy. Because when they feel dumb, they don't buy. But when you demo, everyone feels smart. They can see what's happening. It's what researchers call cognitive load theory. And that is, the human brain can only process so much information at once. And when you overload it with explanation, it shuts down. But visual processing, that's the difference. The brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text or speech. So after building my agency for a decade, I track everything. And here's what I found about the demo to close rate ratio. The explanation only, as I mentioned before, got a 12% close ratio. The demo first got a 38% close rate. If I can move the demo to the first 2 minutes of the call, I got a 47% close rate. That is, we do some introductions, I give a really quick explanation of what the system does, and say, let's jump straight into the computer. Let's demo this thing, and then let's talk about how it works afterwards. You see, every minute that you wait to demo is costing you money. But there's a flip side to the Dunning-Kruger effect. And then experts underestimate how hard it is for beginners in their field. And when I first started selling AI, I thought I was being helpful by explaining everything. I thought that my prospects were actually learning along with me and they could make a more justified decision, going, wow, what he's explaining is fantastic. But things, I was actually being harmful. I was overloading their brain to the point that they couldn't actually be. Now, I just let the demo do the talking. I just narrate what they're seeing. So guys, after $8 million in sales, that's what I've learned about selling. And with AI, you can literally show them their better future in real time on their screen. So guys, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, drop a comment below. I get back to every single question. So have an amazing day.